Well, everybody, it's good to be back. It's good to be back. Live and in person. That's right. As always, we do it like this. My name is Dom Douglas, and I am back-to-back XWW Commentator of the Year. With that comes some responsibilities, but also a lot of fun and excitement, and I'm never ashamed to look like a complete fool. Speaking of that, I love playing Magic the Gathering, so much so that I kind of think I play it a little bit too much, and I have some opinions. So now, XtremeTVOnline.com and XWW Wrestling on YouTube presents my podcast where I talk about Magic the Gathering. It's the Goblin Grenade Podcast. Goblin Grenade Podcast, that is right, ladies and gentlemen, episode... Oops. While I figure out what episode it is, I just want to thank everybody for all the love and attention and all the views that you've been giving me. It has definitely been... this has been an amazing ride this year. I could not predict the success of this podcast, as we are now 15 episodes in. We finished the last 2 weeks of episodes were my Commander decks parts 3 and 4, so now they're all done, and I have like 4 new Commander decks ready to go. I have the 2 of the 3 Fallout ones, the Dogmeat and the Kaiser one. I'm upgrading the Kaiser one. Yes, it's Kaiser. It's, how he's called in Fallout New Vegas. So I have that. Dogmeat's going to remain untouched. I like to keep precons readily available for the most part. So there's that. I also have a Voja deck that I'm making and in the process of parting out, piecing together, and another deck or 3 or 4 or 5 that I have in mind. I am now under 20 Commander decks for the first time in a couple of years, and that is not going to last a while. Outlaws of Thunder Junction, though, I ain't buying a single one of those pieces of crap. We're not even 2 minutes in, and we already got the hot takes. So this episode is going to entail a few things. My opinions of Outlaws of Thunder Junction. I've gotten to play a pre-release and a couple drafts on Arena. We're going to talk about the Wizards of the Coast president leaving the company. And then finally, or in no particular order, we are going to be talking Fallout related stuff, considering the TV show, the Fallout TV series I finished and watched that during my birthday week with the girlfriend, and I have some opinions of not the TV series itself. I thought it was fantastic, but some of the promotional items that could or should have or simply don't exist. That being said, let's start it off with the bad news. You know what? No. Yeah, let's start off with what this podcast is about. This is the Magic the Gathering podcast for Extreme World Wrestling, XtremeTVOnline.com. $4.99 a month. The first 5 days are free. My name is Dom Douglas, the back-to-back XWW Commentator of the Year, and this is my Magic the Gathering podcast. And it's been a couple weeks since I've actually gotten to talk about Magic the Gathering, current event-wise. So, Cynthia Williams has stepped down from Wizards of the Coast, from her position. She was basically manning the helm of Magic the Gathering against D&D, and has stepped down. Wizards has said, and Hasbro has said, that they want to hire from within. Cynthia replaced Chris Cox when he got promoted from Wizards of the Coast CEO to Hasbro CEO. I've just been reading some of the things. Remember, folks, Hasbro brought Wizards for $325 million. Not 15 something years ago, a good number of years ago, and now it's paying dividends. But unfortunately, it's the only thing keeping Hasbro afloat. Every other division in Hasbro has failed utterly, has taken hit after hit after hit, loss after loss after loss. D&D and Magic the Gathering are the only things keeping the former toy company Hasbro afloat. And I say former toy company because it's starting to seem like they will not be into toys that much longer, and they are going to get out of the toy business for the most part. What does that mean for Magic and D&D? Who knows? But some of the information I found this out. It's a week old, I know, but I had other pressing issues at hand. uh, but I watched Alpha Investments, and he was saying some things, and some of this is about Alpha Investments, some of this information, and some of his insider knowledge. Not inside, but insider, but he knows the workings of a company or two. The way it was worded, and the way that they say they want to promote within, and the fact that they didn't have a replacement for Cynthia means that this was a very abrupt decision. I feel, this is my personal opinion, that this was you're getting fired anyway. We'll give you the option to say that you resign. Because there's this shift in momentum. First, you have the Baldur's Gate 3 game. Developer Larian is moving away from the D&D franchise. They're moving away from Baldur's Gate. That's a hard hit, because Baldur's Gate 3 is probably one of the best video games ever made. I have not played a single second of the game, but many people I know have. All these glowing reviews cannot be wrong. You can't get most people to agree on what color the flippin' sky is in 2024, but everybody's agreeing that Baldur's Gate 3 is an amazing game. So they can't be wrong. And the fact that Larian has said they're done with the D&D franchise, they're moving on. They're still creating those type of games, but not using the D&D franchise. That's a big hit. The sales numbers from in-store and public opinion of Magic the Gathering has finally started to turn. And also D&D had its fair share of controversies in the last 2 years. Not being said, I'm not too familiar with D&D, but they did do a oopsie whoopsie when it's just license agreements and all that other stuff. It was so bad that it took them less than like a week to backpedal and say, "Oops, sorry, our bad." But this was big to me on the fact that it is an abrupt quitting. Also, on top of the fact that they don't have a replacement for her, because on top of Larian, on top of Magic the Gathering, kind of starting to fall down a little bit. Some of the cracks in the armor are definitely starting to show. We're not at the straw that breaking the camel's back yet, but that camel has some weight on it. Murders on Markov Manor, not a great set that was sold in store. And apparently Outlaws of Thunder Junction probably going to have the same thing happen to it. They are printing so many cards at such a rapid rate that fatigue has happened. Not so much in the traditional sense of, man, I'm really tired of this game. It's just in the sense of, I'm not buying this because I know my investment is going to be obliterated. I'm going to buy $150 a box and get not even a fraction of that back. I may get half of that value back because I didn't open the mythic rare third version alternate printing. Because, the base version of most cards are super cheap right now. It is super cheap to get into Magic the Gathering, whether it be standard or even Commander. Just buying basic cards, not the alternate arts, because nowadays most of your commons, most of your rares and mythics are going to have 5 printings of the same card, and the basic version is the lowest on the totem pole, and the super surge foil numbered out of X out of 100 or whatever is the top tier. And your collectors are wanting the numbered serialized cards, and nobody cares about the basic versions. And you can get basic version cards for an absolute steal right now. And I'm loving it, but I know stores are feeling this shift in momentum because Wizards, as I said in a couple podcasts ago, Wizards doesn't really count the sales in stores. They count how much they sold to their distributors. That's the big key. So Murders of Markov Manor had a little bit of a dip in distributor orders, and they tried their best to prevent Outlaws of Thunder Junction from having the same thing by forcing stores to do drafts to get access to the premium version of the Commander Masters. I'm sorry, the Modern Horizons 3 Commander decks, which shouldn't exist. And so they can see it coming. They can see this coming a mile away. And unfortunately, the way Magic the Gathering sets are done, they are, the next 2 sets have probably already been printed and have already been started to be made. At least, the definite next set, Modern Horizons 3 obviously is the next setup. That's been printed. But, the set after that, Bloomborough, or whatever is coming out after Outlaws of Thunder Junction, I think it is Bloomborough. It's already been printed. They've already started manufacturing, at least, the next 2, if not 3 sets coming out. So it takes years for the autocorrect to happen. And people are like complaining about loot. The key to everything being the cute little Grogu type of character. And I can see where they're coming from. Mainly Magic Historian that I watched. Mind you, I watched some of these guys. I don't agree with everything they say, especially certain political things that they say. But when it comes to Magic the Gathering, they're kind of on point when it comes to the nuts and bolts. And I don't agree that loot, that treasure, the key to everything is like their version of Grogu to sell toys, and then immediately they start selling toys of the damn thing. But yeah, they saw The Mandalorian and how amazingly awesome Grogu is. I don't watch Star Wars at all. I don't. But I can understand how big of a thing the child is, or Grogu, whatever. But it took them years to get around to actually being able to make a card like that, because the next year or two's worth of sets have already been outlined, deemed, cards, testing, R&D. It's very hard. And they don't generally mess with sets once they've gone gold, which is, in video game terms, means it's actually gone into manufacturing. They learn those lessons when, certain cards like what was it? Skull Crack. No, not Skull Clamp was created. Skull Clamp was changed a month before release. It had already been tested, and they thought that they changed it up. It's a rather infamous story that they changed the mana value, and they changed it from a +1/+1 to a +1 -1, and it gets to draw 2 cards because they were like, your creature has to die for it to happen. And little did they realize that they had no time to test it, and it took the public approximately half a second to break the card. Is why they don't generally mess with sets anymore. After they've been okayed, checked off, the set's done, on to the next. Some of the successes that they had was definitely Lord of the Rings. But, Lord of the Rings was probably the second highest selling set in Magic the Gathering's entire history. 30-year history, Lord of the Rings set basically solidified, and I'm to blame too, because I bought a lot of it along with my girlfriend, that Universes Beyond, when you hit the right fandom, and you do it right, mind you, you do it right, you have a blistering, amazingly awesome, fun time, a great set, awesome playability, hits all the key marks, modern, even though One Ring and Orcish Bowmasters has kind of killed a couple formats, but Draft was an amazing format. It hit Commander. It hit all the buttons that you want to hit. And then they had a lot of misses. I mean, come on. In Cynthia's reign, you are talking about Commander Masters Baldur's Gate. And that was apparently, and it breaks my heart because that set is considered a failure. And that was probably some of the most fun I had drafting and seal pulling and just limited format games, which is what it was created for. And it's probably the last hurrah when it comes to a limited only kind of format. This was invented for a draft limited format, and I don't think we're going to get that again because of how bad of a failure Wizards of the Coast considered it. And I thought it was some of the most fun draft environments that I've encountered in quite a while. And then, eggs on their face with the Pinkertons about March of the Machines Aftermath. We've already done that. The generating AI artwork to promote some cards. The Opens game license was the D&D fiasco. Also, artists, the proliferation of artists stealing other art has happened on this person's watch more than ever. So that being said, I think also this person, I think Cynthia was kind of set up to fail a little bit here. It is she was there for the biggest highs with Chris Cox. She was by his side, like second hand man or second hand. Chris Cox's second hand, if you will. And then when he got promoted, they promoted her, and she got in right at the cusp of all of these bad things happening with the Hasbro, the Wizards of the Coast side of Hasbro. So what does this mean moving forward? Do not know. It's a realm of uncertainty because we don't know who's going to replace them, replace her. And will Wizards of the Coast take this as a chance to start correcting the ship? They can't do it too fast. They can't do a massive 180 immediately. They can't turn this ship on a dime, but they can at least start. And I hope that they start printing less sets. I don't mind that there's like 18 different versions of cards of the same card out there. But they have to like start getting it into their heads that all these sets that they come out with have just damaged their bottom line in the long term. Now we'll move on and pivot to what I think Outlaws at Thunder Junction. I got to do one pre-release and a couple drafts on Arena. Pre-release was on my birthday. I went on my birthday. My girlfriend was visiting for a week. We went to my game store the game store that we go to when she's down here, or you know, that I go to on a semi regular occurrence. Got some awesome Commander games in. Somebody bought one of the precons, so she used her least powerful deck. I brought Dogmeat in. The fourth person was given a very much least power commander because they just brought heat. Second game, we just brought the heat. We brought heat and it was amazing. And then we played, I think, a third game before the pre-release, and we did Two-Headed Giant. And I said I'm okay with doing Two-Headed Giant because you're going to be here. My biggest Two-Headed Giant is my least favorite format of all Magic the Gathering formats, especially on pre-release, because you can open up 2 sealed pools with you and your partner. You can share cards, and when it comes to the game, you share a life total of 30 points instead of 20. It's best of 1. You take your turns at the same time. You have to segment your steps at the same. This is my beginning phase. I'm playing a land. I'm playing a land. You know, but I always feel like I am the weakest link in the chain. And I definitely proved that on this one. We shared some cards between our pools. I went white-blue control, which I never do. And I let her play the green-red aggro. We got our asses handed to us. I couldn't find my 5th land to actually get things going in the first round. It was a good game. I may have been a little salty. I apologize. Turns out that Wizards was having a very bad time with their system. Because, you know, it's not like they do this 8 times a year or anything like that. They can't get their shit together. And it took, in between round 1 and 2, there was a massive cataclysmic failure on Wizards' side of the entire thing. Like the store I was at, which is a Diamond WPN store, couldn't log in, couldn't get anything going. This was not their fault. This was Wizards. This was Wizards server's fault on the companion app. This was their companion failed everybody. So after 45, it's been 20 minutes, fucking minutes of waiting for round 2 to begin, I look at my girlfriend. I'm like, let's go home. for me to walk out of a pre-release on my birthday, which is something I had actually been looking forward to for a few months now, when I realized, oh shit, the pre-release is going to happen on my birthday. To walk out after one round, what does that tell you about your set, Wizards? Or the environment that you've called? And mind you, it was one of the least attended pre-releases that I've ever been privy to. It's Two-Headed Giant, graded on a curve, but it was the 8 o'clock game on a Saturday. 8 o'clock game on a Saturday, pre-release, and it was the lowest attended pre-release I've ever seen since being back. And apparently I've been playing Magic again for 10 years, so not successfully, but I've seen a thing or two. And you had more players playing. No, it was Friday. It was the Friday night pre-release. Okay, it was the second available pre-release event they could do. Lowest attended. That makes it even worse. On the Friday night, the first night of pre-release, and your Two-Headed Giant game was one of the lowest attended. And then on top of that, you had this cataclysmic error on Wizards of the Coast side happening. You had more players playing Casual Commander on the section of the table to the left of us. You had more people playing Legacy and Modern and Pioneer, no matter how hard you're trying to kill those formats, Wizards. More people playing in those than you had in your pre-release. So what does that say? Well, Outlaws of Thunder Junction is a shit set. It's shit tier. I hate to say it like that. I'm not buying anything. I'm not buying any of the Commander decks. I might buy a single or two, but that's it. I bought cards to upgrade Kaiser, and none of them are from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Some of the reprints are cool. I hope they plummet the prices for those reprints that I'll need, because those will be the cards that I might buy to upgrade a few things. But other than that, Outlaws of Thunder Junction is back-to-back kind of fails. And here's the problem. At least with Murders at Markov Manor, you had the Surveillance saving your ass. You had Vein Ripper coming out a week or two after that set. That set actually, had some cool cards in there, had some cool mechanics, had some amazing lands in there. This one doesn't. You have deserts that come into play tapped. They don't do anything cool. They just do 1 damage to target opponent. I could play 20 of those and win the game on turn 20? No. So from my limited experience of the pre-release set is bad. I've drafted the set a couple times. The complications of these sets. Going into a draft and limited environment now, you need a master's degree in literature and the dark arts, and you need to eat, breathe, shit, Magic Gathering limited format to have a shot, I feel. Murders from Markov Manor was the same thing. I actually had a little bit of fun with Markov Manor, though, draft. I've already done 3 drafts of Outlaw Junction, and I think that's the only 3 I'm going to do. The verbal diarrhea, the paragraphs of text that they're fitting on cards. It's just not fun. It's so overtly complicated now. You've already made the most complicated game ever created more complicated. And now we're hitting the crescendo here of the absolute verbal diarrhea that you could put on a card. Spree should be a fun mechanic, but it's awfully explained. I actually had to ask a couple of times, and I got a couple of different answers. Do I have to pay these in order, or can I just pick and choose? Because it doesn't say it on the card. You have so much wordage on the card and so much bad empty space on the card, like Spree, that you can't even put reminder text on it. As a guy who's played cards wrong, and we've all done it because remember, it's pre-release. It's the first time most of us are seeing these things. Reminder text helps. You can put reminder text on Shadowfax because you show them the meaning of haste, but you can't put the reminder text on the Spree cards because that's actually a complicated thing. um, and then even then, like, there's too many cards. Like, I get why you had to put vault stuff in, like the what was supposed to be your aftermath version of this set. Thankfully you put it in this set, but that means that's 50 more cards on an already bloated card set with numerous reprints. So all those cards get in there, and then you have the bonus sheet stuff that gets put in there. It's just not a fun set to play and or draft. I hate that. I'm sorry that people have these beer goggles of nostalgia sometimes for these games, but we got to admit, Outlaws of Thunder Junction is not their best set. And there's no redeeming value in the set. It's also the first set that on Arena I didn't pay for the draft for the season pass and for the draft pass. The $25 where you get the sealed, the 2 draft tokens, this, that, and the other thing. I didn't pay for that. I didn't get it this. And it's the first time in 3 years that I haven't done that. And the only good thing is you kept the you can redeem 5 of the pre-release codes per account now, which is okay. That's good, but I'm not buying any more Outlaw Thunder Junction sealed product. It's going to be singles and very few. And I wish it didn't come to that, but it did. That was my opinion of Outlaws of Thunder Junction. At me in the comments below and show me if you agree or disagree and whatnot. I can't tell you how you should feel. I'm telling you how I feel. If you like the set, awesome. There's legit no sarcasm behind that. Like, if you having fun, have fun. I know I'm not. And now, speaking of fun, we're going to end with what I think is some of the weird Fallout TV show. Okay. Amazon Prime. I thought it was amazing. Not going to go spoilers. I'm not going to go deep into the show because I'm not even, this topic isn't about the show, but it's like a side effect of the show. I thought it was great. At the end of the series, I was like, damn, I wish I could have played that as a game. They messed some of the lore up, I felt. They changed a few things up, especially if you're a fan of the first 2 Fallout games. Other than that, fantastic. Probably one of the best video game adaptations ever made. Bar none. Next to the first Mortal Kombat movie. Now, the inadvertent side effect. There is nothing new coming out on the Fallout from Bethesda. You have people in droves playing 4, even playing 76, which hasn't had any new content in like a year, I think, or half a year at least. Atlantic City came out a couple months ago, but it's the same thing as the Pit, same thing as the other content. It's a localized. Although Atlantic Cities is actually pretty fun. Like, it was pretty fun, the first one I did. But, you know, I was like, all right, I've been there, done that. This is literally the Pit. Just a reskinned version of the Pit stuff. But you would figure that there would be a massive update for 76. Or a new Fallout game even. Or even a remaster of a Fallout game. Nothing. The new update for 76 doesn't come out till June, I think. Fallout 4 is getting a next generation update in 2 days, or this comes out tomorrow, in a day from now. So on the 25th of April, it's getting a next generation update, which should have actually come out a year ago. Because that's when they said it was going to come out. And basically we're getting, if you have a next gen, or even, a PS4, Xbox One, if you have a PS5 and Xbox X, One X, you're getting different updates than the PS4 and whatnot. PC's getting a different update as well, but PC's already had a lot of the features that the console players are getting. So I'm going to load that up real quick. But my biggest complaint is the fact that there isn't any new content coming out. You're not even having a remaster of 4 coming out. Technically, the update would be the remaster. You're not even having a remaster of 3 or New Vegas. And New Vegas is considered one of the best games in the franchise. So much so that I'm literally playing another playthrough of New Vegas. And it will always be the same thing. It'll always be Mr. House. Yeah. I mean, I've done the playthrough with the NCR one. I've done the playthrough where Kaiser's Legion one just to get the achievement. I felt very dirty about it. But always, I've done the Yes Man, which is the funniest playthrough to do. But Mr. House, I always felt Mr. House represented what was best for New Vegas. So I'll do another playthrough of that. But trying to find one that I'm trying to find a I hope it's not what I think it is. There's a couple websites that definitely are nerd related, but they're so like biased against anything that's not good old Christian values that I can't take anything they say seriously. And I'm just trying to find what's coming in the update. All right, that's not it. um, so what happens is what they're releasing is they release some skins and whatnot and some Vault 33, which is the main vault in the TV series stuff for 76, for Fallout 76, which is their attempt at a pseudo massively online multiplayer game. And there's a next gen update for Fallout 4. The next gen update for Fallout 4 is, and this is the stuff that comes on the next gen consoles. So this would be PS4, Xbox One X. Performance mode and quality mode on PS5, Xbox Series X. Stability improvements, bug fixes, 60 frames per second, increased regulations, Quest fixes on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, login fixes for the PS4 and Xbox One. PC version gets widescreen and ultra widescreen support, creation kit fixes, quest updates, stability improvements, mods and bug fixes, Japanese and Chinese language login issue fixes. Okay. And then we were getting a little bit of content, new content, but it's Creation Club content. And if you don't know what Creation Club is with the Bethesda games, it's kind of like paid mods. Bethesda games have been known for their modding communities. Fallout 4 is still modded today. Probably one of the most heavily modded games out there next to Skyrim, which is another Bethesda game. Both of these games are well over almost 10 years old. I know Skyrim is, and they're still being modded to this day. Okay. Even Daggerfall, like they're old OG games on that came out like when Windows 98 was the top of the line king shit PC of the day. Those are still getting modded to this day. And there's nothing coming out except for that Fallout 4 next gen update. And even then, the next gen update said nothing about increasing the size of mod capacity on console. When it came out on PS4, Xbox One, you could have 2 gigs of mods, which, mind you, was the first time consoles were able to have mods easily done for games. Skyrim did it, and they added 5 gig to Skyrim. I want at least 5 gig for the next gen update. One of my birthday gifts was this chair and an Xbox X, and you know what? And a 5 terabyte external drive. I got a terabyte Xbox X drive. I've got a 5 terabyte external drive. Like, let me at least get 5 gig to download mods. I want to play Sim Settlements 1 and 2, and I've never been able to do that easily on console. But now you can just slam it all in there. But the 2 gig leads you to certain things. Now, that being said, I'm going to have to delete all the mods I have on my Fallout 4 download because I don't know what's being fixed. Because the first thing any Fallout 4 player needs to do when they're done the original playthrough, because I hate the fact that it just blocks achievements and whatnot when you download mods. I get it. But one mod that is needed is the unofficial Fallout 4 patch, which fixes probably every issue that's getting fixed, hopefully, on the 25th of April. But who knows? I don't. They really didn't put an updated list. They probably won't do everything that gets fixed until it comes out. Now, if it's a ninja stealth upgrade, and I look and I can download like 5 gig of mods, I'm going to be very happy. I'll be very, very happy. But if it still stays 2 gig, I think Bethesda has made another mistake when it comes to their video games, like Starfield and the first 3 years of 76. Look, Fallout 76 is a good game now. Good game now. Good to play as a single player campaign that you can do now. Not so good when it came out at first. Not so good even a few years ago. But it's pretty okay now. Probably the worst in the line of Fallout games by far. By a good old country mile, it is the worst. But it's not unplayable like it was. It used to be highly unplayable. Just look at the Internet Historian video, and one guy made a video like a month, or not even a month, after the game came out, and it was an 8-hour video of every glitch he saw and found in the game. So what I'm hoping, if I can remember what I was talking about with the mods and whatnot. Oh yeah. So we get the next gen update for that. We get some skins and whatnot and 33 related items for Fallout 76. They are still licking their wounds over the atrocity that was Starfield. Starfield is dead already. Starfield was DOA when it came out. The modding community is non-existent anymore. And that's a big thing because Bethesda games have been heavily modified. Like, modding Bethesda games is kind of like part and parcel with getting a Bethesda game that the community is going to keep this game alive for eons to come. Starfield has no such modding community that I'm aware of. And everything I've even seen and read and even tried to update recently, ain't nobody caring about this game. Some people play it. I know a couple speedrunners that speedrun it that hate it and got a record and said, I never have to do this again, or got into the top 10 of speed, like any percent top 10. And they were like, all right, cool. I never have to play this game ever again. Not what you want. You developed a very boring experience, and Kyle Hill Gaming, that Kyle Hill, yes, had the best short explaining it. It's just, are we having fun yet? And it's just him kind of going from one point to another, just kind of lounging back in his chair, kind of falling asleep as he's running from one point to another in the map, not encountering anything. And he's explaining it. Like, this is what happened in Fallout 4 and Skyrim. Every, minute or two, you would have a weird encounter. You would have something that you would see. You would see a little thing scampering just to keep your attention. Starfield doesn't do this at all. It's just very main quest oriented. So they put all their nuts in the basket of Starfield and they lost them all. And now they're kind of backpedaling and reeling at this point to come up with anything to capitalize on the success of this TV show. And I kind of think this is the hottest take that I'll have this episode. I was not envisioning it being this long. I think Todd Howard needs to go. Or at least be relieved of his duties and demoted in some way, shape, or form. Because if you're writing this ship and Starfield is that bad, the TV show is getting a ton of praise. You have all these players clamoring, playing Fallout 4 and Fallout 76. Wouldn't it have been in your best interest after like a week or two, like on the 25th, let's say, Instead of releasing the next gen console update for Fallout 4, you drop a new Fallout game instead of waiting till 2030 or whatever dumbass plan you have in mind on releasing the next Fallout game. Because I don't know if anybody knows, but they said it's going to be a very long time till Fallout 5 comes out. Why? You mean to tell me Bethesda is only capable of working on one game at a time? That don't sound right. That sounds so mismanaged, especially when you knew a TV show was coming out. Now, I could be talking out of my ass, perfectly fine. That's okay, but this is my opinion, damn it. There is zero capitalization going on for this TV show that just dropped. And it is a fantastic show. And if you can get it, watch it. By any means necessary, damn it. It's a great show. And I left really... If they put this and did like a year, 18-month development, give it to Obsidian because they do shit quick and make it as good as they can. You give them the Fallout 4 engine, okay? You tell them to make Fallout TV show. They're going to do it. And it's going to be the best damn game you've ever played on this generation of consoles. It'll be broken as fuck, but it'll be the best damn game you've ever played. And you already know the story, especially if you've seen the TV show. You don't have to change anything. I will play it for hundreds of hours. I will play it. I love the setting. I love what they've done. I love certain story aspects. I love the characters. I love the three main protagonists. It is beautifully done, and I would love to play this as a video game. Instead, what do we get? Next gen update on Fallout 4, a game that's been out for 10 years. And we're going to give you some cosmetics for Vault 33 and 76, a game that kind of people play because there's no other option for a new Fallout game. That's insulting, man, and you know it. I get it. You're licking your wounds over Starfield. Starfield is a bomb that you dropped on the world that didn't explode, that made no ripples, and the only ripples that it made was you getting clowned on for it. Take your lumps. But after that, I really, not even after that, like once you knew the TV series was coming out, which you knew for a while, I would have been working on something. Even if it was a remaster of 3. Or even a remaster of New Vegas. Or I don't know. Making it possible to play the first 2 Fallout games on current gen consoles. Touch those up ever so slightly. Not much. You don't even have to change anything about it. That would have been better than what you've presented, I feel. Well, what do I know? I'm just an idiot that's talking. That's gotten hopelessly addicted to Minecraft again. Why do I keep doing that to myself? Oh, yeah, because Diablo 4 Season 4 got delayed till May. It looks so good on the Xbox X, though. I can't even deny it. I can't wait for the fallout for Diablo 4 Season 4 coming out. Because I've seen everything. It's positive. It's going to be an amazing experience. It's going to be a great experience. I'm not playing it until then, though, because I do not like Season of the Construct. That being said, my name is Dom Douglas. I want to thank you all for watching this 15th episode of Goblin Grenade Podcast. 15 episodes down already this year. Was that I smell? 15 episodes. They say he couldn't do it, but yet here we are, 15 episodes in, every Wednesday at 2 p.m. The Goblin Grenade Podcast. My name's Dom Douglas, the back-to-back XWW voice commentator of the year, the voice of XWW. I want to thank you for watching on YouTube. I want to thank you for, don't forget to subscribe on XtremeTVOnline.com, $4.99 a month. The first 5 days are free, and may your top deck always be mythic. Deadass, I'm not going to lie, I would play Fallout 5 TV show.